Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie Podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely. Pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 255 of the Mistress Carrie Podcast. My guest this week is the lead vocalist from Architects, Sam Carter, who first appeared on the show on episode 129 in November of 2022. The band's new album, The Sky, The Earth, and All Between, is out now, and they're getting ready to go out on a massive North American tour with a stop at the House of Blues in Boston on August 16th. I caught Sam while he was at home in England, finishing unpacking after buying a new house. He was sporting a brand new mustache. We talked about his vinyl and music memorabilia collection and the songwriting on the new album. We also talked about Spinal Tap, Black Sabbath, Ozzy, his love of Fenway Park, and of course his love of the Beatles. I love having Sam on the show, and the new album is fantastic. So allow me to reintroduce you to Sam Carter from Architects. What's up, Sam? Thanks for coming back on the show.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
I know you're back at home in England. Are you having a little downtime? Are you home right now?
I'm home. I just bought my new house, so I'm like doing that up and arranging plants and taking care of walking the dogs, living that very British lifestyle.
That domesticated lifestyle.
Yeah. It's the lifestyle that's so far away when I'm on stage, but you got to have both.
When you move, you always find things that you forgot you even had. What did you find that you were like, holy crap?
I found a book of lyrics from like our second record. Yeah. I found them and I sat there and was like, all right, these are actually quite good.
Since I saw you last, I had to look up the last time you were on the show. It was in it was in November of 2022. The mustache is new.
Yeah, it was about 2 days old. So you're really getting a preview today.
You can grow a mustache in 2 days?
Well, no, I can grow the rest of my beard, and I shaved this in. Yeah,
so
I wish. No, I grow beard hair very much like a teenager. It takes about a year.
My husband's in the middle of retiring from the military, so he's never been able to have a beard, and so it's such a novelty that he's doing it right now, and I haven't quite decided how I feel about it.
Yeah, my wife absolutely hates the mustache.
Okay, I want to make sure it wasn't me.
Yeah. No, my wife says it looks awful, but I'm leaning into it. And as I said, I haven't really been able to grow a beard much of my life. So, now I'm leaning in. This may last for another 24 hours. So you just enjoy it.
Okay, I'm taking it all in while I can. In the move, did you create a recording space or like a music room in the house?
Yeah, we have. It's not quite finished yet, but I've got a studio put in. So I'll be, for the most part in there. But for right now, I'm just in my lounge right now.
I love being able to see the workspaces of artists and musicians and the things that you treasure that you put in there. Do you have a piece of memorabilia from another band that is going to be in there that you treasure?
I'm a real collector. So like a lot of the stuff that I have, I've got a lot of Beatles memorabilia, a lot of really old vintage stuff, signed stuff. And from other bands that we've been on tour with, I've got a lot of stuff from them. I always get vinyl signed. You know, I always think like I collect records, but you know, one day I won't be here and someone will be in a record shop picking up one of those records and it will be signed and that'll be cool for them. But yeah, I have a lot of like, photo memorabilia and stuff. So yeah, there'll be bits and stuff that'll be put up.
I love that vinyl is back in such a huge way. I'm not the biggest collector, but I inherited, last time you were on the show, we talked about the Beatles a lot, and I inherited my mom's Beatles records.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, and I love that a new generation is getting to enjoy vinyl.
Yeah. We have like, so my wife's grandfather sadly just passed away last year. And she got given some of his records, and then on the back of one of the records was her great grandma's signature with the date that she bought the record, and we didn't realize until like a week ago. So I think with records and things like that, people used to put their names and stuff on them. You can find these like little treasures, like even with like your family's ones. You know, you never know what you open it up and you'll be like, oh my god, you know, like I've got records that I think people have bought for their like significant others at the time and written little love letters inside the vinyls, and you're like, wow, this is so crazy, history in your hands. And maybe someone will find some architects ones, one day with my scribbles all over them.
Well, my mom just passed in December, so those are like some of the most treasured things because it was those records that I learned to fall in love with music in the first place. Yeah,
for sure. And those are the things that will keep you connected to her. When you're listening to those records, or you get a record player and you go back, you'll feel that connection. And I'm so sorry that you've gone through that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's really awful.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
I'm sending you all my love.
I appreciate that.
And hopefully, when you listen to the Beatles, you'll think of her and have some peace.
There's even a Beatles lyric on her headstone. That's how much she loved them. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, she sounds like an amazing person.
She was that person that dated every milestone of her life based on the music and the song she was listening to at the time. Like, not everybody's like that, but she gave that to me because I do the same kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's why you are who you are and why you love what you love. It's amazing. So she'll live on through you. And
awesome. Every time I hear those songs, I have that remember those stereos from the 70s that you flip the top up and it had a record player and an 8-track player
and it's like
album?
An amazing amazing tables. Yeah,
so I have that, and it's this big giant thing, and my stepson's 16 and he's like, that's how you used to have to listen to music?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm lucky that I have I have a Sonos, so I have like the vinyl connected to the Sonos, so it's like, not if you think back to the 70s, not everybody could listen to their vinyls in every room in their house. So I feel pretty fortunate that I have that. So
yeah, you've got this convergence of old and new technology going on.
Yeah, that's me. That basically sums me up. Old and new,
I got to talk to you about how you guys have decided to release this new record, because all of the artists that I talk about, there's this debate between putting a full body of work together or just moving into a more singles mindset. And you guys have been releasing singles off this record for a while before you actually release the whole thing. Talk to me about the mentality behind that decision.
Well, Seeing Red was like one of the first ones that we put together, and it was, I think, important for us to get that out. I think just at the time of our band, we'd had a really amazing summer, and we were just wanting to come up with the perfect kind of live opener for our set. And that's really how that came out. We came up with the idea of kind of making fun of ourselves and our fans for kind of how they are with us and about our last album. And then once we had the idea, it was like, oh, let's really lean into it. And then when we nearly got it finished, Jordan got involved, and it was amazing. And then when Curse, which was the song after that, was sort of the first one that we had got finished with Jordan, and that felt like a sort of perfect sort of architecty type song. And then from then it was sort of just trying to keep the album under wraps while we were finishing it up. And I can see both sides to it. I think it's amazing if you can slowly release a song at a time to build up and build up and build up an album and then release it. But there's something for me about just having a record in your hands, whether it's a vinyl or a CD or just hearing like an entire body of work. I always love that. When a band releases a new song that you love and you go and you click on the song and you see their entire album, that's such a great feeling because you've got 45-30 minutes to really delve into it. So yeah, I see the benefits on either end.
Talk to me about working. You're talking about Jordan Fish. Talk to me about working with him. He was in Bring Me the Horizon. You've done a lot of work kind of songwriting and producing with him. What does he bring into, like, what spice is he added into a Architects record?
I think for us, we had obviously done the last two records sort of self-produced, and I think it was nice to have somebody come in and tell us what we were good at, and to sort of like get behind us as a band. And I think that was important. I think we were lacking a little bit of confidence. I think, and actually having someone come in who we respected and trusted coming into that space was awesome. But he also kind of, could help us kind of see maybe some of the steps that we'd taken too many times that weren't working, or notes or chords or whatever, when you get down to the real science of it. And he's just so smart. He's got an amazing ear for melody, and he can really, pull out an idea very fast. If you throw anything at him, he can really build something very quickly. So yeah, he was great at sort of getting us to create a perfect Architects record. You
guys deal with such serious issues and life experiences in your music. Has there ever been a decision to not release a song because it was too serious? Is there subject matter that's off limits? Because you guys tackle some serious stuff.
We had a song that we had done after Holy Hell. We obviously did an entire album talking about the death of our friend Tom, which was obviously fucking awful. But then I think an album after, we kind of started writing a song again about it, and it just didn't feel right. I didn't want to go through that again. I didn't want to sit there and in that way sort of deal with something so like confronting again. We'd already done an album about that, and I think it was easier to try to touch into that in our own sort of ways in other songs, and ways that it was less obvious for us. But not really. I mean, the world's pretty fucked, isn't it? So it's it's pretty easy to throw a dart at something and be like, oh yeah, that sucks, let's go for that. But I think it's a pretty telling time. I think the main thing that we're kind of discussing at the moment and talking about is like our own mental health and kind of our own journeys that we've been on as people. I think obviously Dan writes the lyrics, so it's we keep things pretty close together. We talk about what he's going through or what I'm going through or what I can bring to it, and yeah, it's important. I think it's important to just be honest and open. I think there's enough bullshit out there. It's easier to just be open.
When Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins inducted Rush into the Hall of Fame, they made notion that they were a band that allowed the drummer to write the lyrics, and you guys have that same thing where you're a vocalist delivering lyrics that you didn't write, which is not very common.
No, it's not very common that your drummer's your main songwriter.
Yeah.
But I think, we've been through a lot. We lost our main songwriter in Tom, and Dan stepped up. He stepped up and started writing and learning guitar and even more guitar on this record. And I think, we're all very proud of him. I think it was important for him to write the lyrics to Holy Hell, and it was his brother, and about him wanting to continue and his journey. And I was very proud to sing it and to bring my emotion to it. I think nowadays we work so closely that there's, bits and parts where he'll be asking me what I think, whether it should be darker. I'm always like, yes, let's make it darker. We're very much like the light in the dark. I'm the one that tries to pull the darkness out of him.
Which is very Beatles-esque, by the way.
It's very, very Lennon-McCartney. So yeah, I'm very much the Lennon in this situation. I'm very much bringing it can't get much worse.
The last time you were on the show, we joked about Spinal Tap, and now the sequel's finally coming out this fall.
Which is awesome.
I can't wait. I saw a picture of you on crutches. Did you have a Spinal Tap moment on stage?
Yeah, I did. It was 2 songs in to our first night of our European tour. Bear in mind, we've been on tour for like 2 weeks at this point, just doing smaller shows. And then, I don't know what happened. I just jumped in the air, did a punk jump, and then just my left calf just completely snapped, just like completely gave way. I've never experienced it before. And it felt like one of the guitarists had just like kicked me. I turned around, I was like, who the fuck was that? And it turns out no one was anywhere near me. But I did I didn't really want to go to hospital because I don't really like going to hospital, funnily enough. Not many people do. But I did the rest of the set sat down, which is actually surprisingly difficult. It's quite hard to sing when you're like leant over like this. Because I just couldn't stand up. I couldn't put any weight on my leg, and then had to go to hospital afterwards, and they gave me all kinds of drugs and it's still not great. Like I'm having to have physio on it. But yeah, I think it's just the hazards of getting older and not stretching.
One of the biggest music stories of the year, and obviously you being in England right now and being a British band, is the farewell Back to the Beginning show for Black Sabbath and Ozzy. And so I've been asking, speaking of sitting down, because he's got that amazing bat throne that he's going to be in.
He should have lent me it.
Well, you could probably call Dave Grohl. He's still got his throne too.
I'll give him a call.
But I know that Sabbath and Architects are not really the same kind of music, but I feel like it's impossible to be a rock or a metal band in any form and not to have some influence coming from Sabbath and Ozzy. And as this final show comes up, I'm asking all of the bands kind of what their influence on you was.
I love Sabbath. I love Sabbath so much. They're one of my favorite bands. I own all their records. I'm such a massive fan of Ozzy as well, just as a person and just as a musician. I think one thing that gets really lost in, and I've said this a couple of times recently, I think it gets really lost in the sort of like Ozzy folklore. You know, he sort of became this like funny guy and everyone sort of, you know, with the Osbournes and stuff, but like the man's voice is insane. It's so good. It's so good. If you listen to his vocals on Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, it's unbelievable how high he's getting. And like the delivery, and this is not in a world where it was like auto-tune or being helped out in any way. Like the mic was on, you know,
not only singing. That, he was doing everything in the world to not take care of his voice.
Yes, he was snorting ants and he was still singing amazingly. You know, there's me with like, oh yeah, I'll just get this like throat coat and just take care of myself and just drink water. And he's like, I'm going to put everything up my nose and every other place I possibly can and still be a better singer than you. It's just unbelievable. You know, it's just he really is the Prince of Darkness. And yeah, it would be amazing, I think, for him to really get his flowers and to really experience just how much he's done for the metal community and in general just songwriters. I think he's bridged that gap from just being in like a metal band to being like one of the biggest songwriters in the world. You know, Sabbath were basically, you know, the inventors of sort of metal, you know, and you know, I'm always going to love Ozzy because he's such a big Beatles fan as well. You know, he always said that, you know, the Beatles were the reason that Sabbath existed. And, you know, if it wasn't for them not being able to sound like the Beatles, then metal wouldn't have existed, you know. So it's amazing, really.
Tom Morello's working as the musical director for the big show. He said there's surprises coming. Ozzy has been such a vocal lover of the Beatles. I'm predicting that McCartney and Ringo show up in Birmingham to surprise him.
I think Ozzy would die from excitement. You know, you see that video of him meeting McCartney and he's just like, he can't believe it.
I know.
But that's why Ozzy's so amazing and relatable, is he's just like one of us, isn't he? He's just like an amazing guy.
Yeah. Well, your album, The Sky, the Earth, and All Between, is out now. Mm-hmm. We're going to get you in August at the House of Blues in Boston because you guys are doing this massive North American tour to support it.
Yeah. I can't wait. I love that venue so much. It's in such a cool place. I mean, Fenway Park is unbelievable. We got shown around it last time we were there, and there wasn't a game on, but some guy that works there just let us in and took us for a tour around it. And such a beautiful place, such a cool place. And yeah, I've always it was a big moment for us headlining it last time we were there, because we've really cut our teeth in those rooms. And been first on, second on, third on, and now to be headlining it again is a real rush. And it was one of the biggest ones on our last tour, so I've got high expectations for this one.
Well, if you have a day off, I will take you on the Mistress Carrie tour of Boston.
Yes, please.
We just celebrated the 250th anniversary of Paul Revere's ride, warning that the British were coming.
Whoa.
And had quite the big party here to celebrate it. So
there you go.
So if
I love Boston, so we'll have a good time. Hopefully we do have a day off. I would love that.
Well, if you do, I would be more than happy to take you around town.
I'll hit you up for sure.
It was so good to see you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Sorry for making you wait.
Oh, come on. You're worth waiting for, Sam. It's all good.
I got to do all this apologizing again in a minute now.
You're all good. It's all good. I'll see you in August. Thank you so much.
See you then. Bye.
There he is, Sam Carter from Architects. The new album, The Sky, the Earth, and All Between, is available everywhere, and you can check out some of the tracks on this episode's corresponding playlist. I make a playlist for every full-length episode of the Mistress Carrie Podcast that features all of my guest music and all the songs and artists that we referenced in the interview. You'll find it linked in the show notes of this episode, where you'll also find the link to get tickets to see Architects in Boston, Massachusetts at the House of Blues on August 16th. You'll also find the link to hear his first appearance on the show on episode 129 in November of 2022. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to like, follow, share, and comment on the Mistress Carrie Podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday. Plus, every weekday, you get the Sit Rep. The Situation Report breaks down all your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment updates in about 5 minutes. And you never know when we're going to release a bonus episode. Join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern on my Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube for my weekly streaming video show, Cocktails in the War Room. And of course, you can always hear me on the radio. Get the details on all of that and more at mistresscarrie.com. The Mistress Carrie Podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.